What was the inspiration behind this podcast?
Well, this podcast is based on a live show that we all did together. First it was called Daytime at Night, then it was called Happy Hour.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a behind-the-scenes look of three women that are working on a show together.
Yeah, it kind of started being behind the scenes of a talk show.
Yeah.
And then because of the success in the Groundlings stage, we got approached multiple times by some great people to say we want to try to make this into a TV show. We want to make it into a TV show. So we did that. We went out and pitched a bunch of times. And one of the people we worked with was Carapano from Stampede Ventures. And then she came to us a couple of years later. I mean, this was pre-pandemic, and came to us and said, "I'm not ready to let these characters go. What about podcasts? We're doing podcasts now." We were like, "Okay." And so that was kind of how we just said, let's do it.
They were specifically we're not doing TV, we're doing movies and podcasts.
Yes.
Okay.
And the three, as Lisa has said before, our characters are three very different kinds of women.
Yeah.
But what we love is that we try to get along anyway. And kind of using the tenets of improv, we might argue or disagree, but we keep it moving.
Yeah.
And it's also a great space for us to play and to have fun and bring a lot of joy.
Yeah. And we have these guests on who are comedians and they're working actors and they're all of this, and it's fun to play characters who really don't know anything.
Yeah.
So we can actually we're learning things as our characters, but also ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can ask very
childhood questions, and
Yes.
we're like, we didn't know you grew up there. Yeah.
I would say our interviews tend to get answers to much deeper questions than they're used to, and there's also some really deep philosophical advice on how to make it in LA and make it through life, and very wacky moments as well.
Yeah.
So how would you say now, because it has been going on now for a couple of years, the development of your characters on this particular medium too? How's the podcast developed your characters?
We know these characters so well, but their backstory is always growing because we find out more about them every episode. So it is kind of a trick to keep track of what they're doing.
For example, Felicity wrote into her wedding on a Clydesdale, so we know that.
We'll get a piece of information like that, and it'll be improvised. So we're and then we're like, oh, we have to tuck that away for later. I'm sure if someone really wanted to, they could listen to every podcast and go, no, that's not there. They would be able to find holes probably in our stories, but it's so fun to come up with new information as these characters.
I would sometimes just have to be Lana because she's very positive and just want to jump into her shoes. So the characters are kind of ever evolving.
And we're improvisers, so we label each other too. So if I say something about Lana's life or Paula's life, that's true.
It's true. And
you have to say yes.
We say yes, that's absolutely it.
100%. That is so awesome. So how brilliant. I mean, you guys are brilliant women, and the fact that you guys have been doing this for so long and in this legendary place. Tell me about that. How does it feel to be at Groundlings?
The Groundlings is our home.
Yeah.
I mean, we met here, we created so many original characters here, and we started the show here. So it's really cool to be a part of this.
It's a very strong base that's given us wings to really creatively fly, and I think that you need that if you want to really just take a chance. And for whatever reason, these three characters mesh so well together. There's a never-ending amount of information, but we really did get the tools for how to sustain that by working here and learning here.
It feels full circle though tonight to be back here with this podcast and like she said, at our home. It's so comfortable. I mean, I know probably for some of the Stampede people that are here, they're like, they're not used to maybe the live shows as much, but for me, I'm like, oh, this is the easy part. It was learning all the podcast stuff that was new and nerve wracking, but like this, I'm like, here's where I'm super comfortable. I'm not worried. It's really fun.
Well, I can't wait to see you guys keep developing the show.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.